Yeah, wow, we were laughing about Marissa, Riley, and Connor and love triangles because there's like about 10 million love triangles.
Why so many love triangles?
It happens so fast, literally. Like, and that's like, that is one thing I do love about Paradise is how like, all right, yes, give it to me, because sometimes I feel like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, you're just inching, you get it.
So there was a moment, it's in my notes somewhere, like specifically who says it, but there's a moment where someone said like the last few days. I think it was Ivan. And I was like, oh my God, it really only has been
Literally.
a few days. Like for us, it's like multiple episodes a week for like a few weeks now. This is the third. And it's just like, it actually for them has been like, what in the Love Island hell is this?
Oh my God, yes, exactly. When I'm watching that show and they all say, yeah, yesterday, whenever everything like this happened, I'm like, God damn, that was
Like, my God. And it's funny
like,
is
I
they
forget
usually
that.
do talk about it in weeks. They
Yeah,
usually talk about it in weeks. And like, we very rarely hear them refer to it in days. And I was like, oh shit, like this really has been less than a week.
it's been a long, yeah, exactly. So,
Bless these
and
people and the
all of
roller
these
coaster they put
people.
themselves through for real.
Well, and as Demi says, I actually kind of do agree with her. Where in the beginning of the first episode from Monday, she's like, well, everybody's freaking married around here, I guess, because that's what it seemed like. Everybody got there and was like, we are a couple, and we will never break
Well,
up and die.
and that's the problem with we love these like long running shows, right? We like the concept of the show, so we think it's logical to assume like the more seasons of the show that we like, the better because it's more entertainment. But the problem is that the more exposure it gets, the more aware they are of what's happening on the show. So it's not really about finding the right connection. It's about finding a. They know that if they're not paired up immediately, there's a chance of them going home, and the goal of the game is to stay on as long as possible. So no one's worried about talking to like the right people anymore. Now they're concerned with like, I just need somebody.
Everybody, yeah, they're all coupling up. But what I was going to say too is that this season is easily last season of Paradise trickled in it.
Sure.
It tried.
Yeah.
It started with it, but this is the season where I am like, all of these bitches have been talking outside. We've mentioned this before, but like the Jasenia
How
and
did I
Chris
know that
one,
that's what you were going to say?
I am honestly tired of everyone's bad acting. Why are we pretending that nobody knows who anybody is? Why does Natasha pretend like
That's
Piper? Who's Piper Girl? Bitch, you know her.
okay.
You hang
Okay.
out with
Okay.
her.
So before we
You're on
even
a
get
Bachelor
into the two
podcast.
episodes, there are two things that I wanted to talk about that are like kind like relate. The reason I'm bringing this up now is because that's exactly what I wrote in my notes. Like before you even said the point of the sentence, I was like, "Yep," because I knew exactly where you were going. So right after the episode, it was after we recorded, but before we released our podcast episode. But in response to the episode, people that are saying that I'm only there for my music, like blah blah blah, like you're just haters. For it's a lot more eloquently put than that. I'm paraphrasing. We said this last week, and I just want to reiterate: no one's saying that he's not talented. Like no one's saying that his music is bad. Like no one's saying he can't sing. Like no one's saying that his shit is not like cute and quirky. My irritation is like be fucking upfront with it. Like you let the other men
Well,
put Thomas on blast last season, and like if you're there to promote your music, fucking fine. But don't sit there and don't say you don't want a career in music when while The Bachelorette is airing, you're like promoting a mini tour with your
also,
duo partner.
he straight up said on one of these episodes this week that he gets to be the douchebag with the guitar at the party. My favorite role. Dude, he knows he owns it, but he's trying to play it off as like, I just love to have my guitar around and I just love to write songs about girls and I just love to perform them on my Instagram
Yes.
conveniently after it airs half of it on the show. And I just love kissing girls on national TV and everybody telling me I'm a good kisser. It's just like, dude, you don't look, just own it. By the way, I'm sure of it, Jess. I am so sure that the reason we didn't see Connor B actually serenading Jasenia is because she probably made a face, a Scorpio sign Cat Moon. I believe it. That she made a face during the entire thing being like, I want to crawl out of my skin. I want to leave my body and I don't want to be in this serenade.
Listen.
So they did not include it because Jasenia was probably not making a sweet, cute face. And then literally, and he's like, oh, I wrote the song for Jasenia on his Instagram story. He was like, I wrote the song for Jasenia. She thinks it's so cute. And she like replied, and she's like, I love it. Still my favorite song ever. And I'm like, this is like a pity. This is like the dude who has so many girl besties because they pity him. And they're like, oh, you're so nice. You're so sweet. I just like could never imagine dating you. You're like the sweetest guy ever. And it's like, he's just digging himself into that hole with these
It's
songs.
yeah.
Stop serenading women.
He's very much like tucks hair behind his ear, like, who, me? Like, no, I could never. Like, you want me to play for you? Like, no, I'm so shy. Like,
Stop.
right, and then
okay, wait, here's my guitar and my ukulele at once.
But like I've been calling Connor B a fraud since Katie's season, and I want people to understand that like I'm not calling him a fraud because I think that he's like
not talented.
Whatever.
I genuinely think every time he plays an instrument, I genuinely do think I'm like, wow, I can't do that. That's awesome. I love it because he really is good.
Like,
and
this is clearly calculated in whatever your motives are. No one's saying you're malicious, but this is calculated. And like to pretend that it's not calculated is what I think is fraudulent.
What it is
like,
to me,
take advantage of all of your opportunities.
To me, it's genuinely, I watch it and I'm just like, this is peak water sign man bullshit. Like, I am a Pisces man who is trying to level with you, make you feel good, and try to serenade you and give this stuff, but I actually can come off creepy and weird instead. And also it's a manipulative tactic to be like, let me perform for you and create this art about you so that you will like me, instead of just you. Like, I genuinely believe a Pisces is best when they create art for people they love, but you have to do it like with consent. Seems weird, but like showing up to a random girl like Jasenia that you're not dating with a song you wrote about her is fucking weird. Yeah, right. Like it's one thing to be dating a woman and then write about her or draw her or whatever Pisces want to do, right? But like, damn, it's just so painful to watch when it's like this. And that's honestly, it's a good start to jump off because the first episode, like the first thing that happens in the Monday episode is that Connor wakes up and finds out that Marissa and Riley were in the boom boom room. And
I don't even like him, and I felt so bad for him in this moment. Like,
I did too.
This was genuine. Especially, like, what?
Especially because he tried so hard. He tried so hard to flex that outfit.
Okay.
He was like, did you hate the outfit? Because I kind of hated the outfit. When Wells roasted the outfit, I was like,
I'm not a fan of orange, but like I like the outfit. Like I'm really into like the co-ord thing. Like I like the sets. Like I'm for it.
Oh,
I'm not understanding if it was a set or if it was a romper.
I agree. I think it was a set because there was a brief shot. Like when I say brief, like 2 seconds, but I was looking because I was thinking the exact same question. Where he's like doing a like, you know, is like kind of doing his, before he goes into the bridge and is like doing his stupid model shit where he's like, oh, is the beach over there, over there, and it's like whatever. But before that, he's standing there and he kind of does this thing where he like snaps the waist of the pant and it looks separate. So I think it is separate, but he has it tucked in to where it looks the same, which is so when I was watching that, I said out loud, I go, you know what I would like better is if this shirt was open. Like if he was wearing it open instead of a full like buttoned down thing.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm listening to what you're saying and I agree with you. But I had to really fast pull up a reference that I'm going to show you. And if you're on the YouTube, I'm just going to like post a quick picture like here.
Yes.
But this is okay. If it's a co-ord, I like it because like you said, like it can be open more, like it can be altered, like it can be styled a little bit differently. If it's a romper, it is a little busy of a print for someone like Connor B. And like this is all I could think of. Like for listeners that aren't on the YouTube, it's the Ken from Toy Story 3 where he's like in that little set with the ascot. And it's like very oversized because he's a doll. But it just like
I feel bad though. I will say this: I do feel bad because I agree that the outfit itself was not bad. Connor B was not wearing it.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry, Connor. But Marissa and Connor talk, and she is giving. Oh my god, she is. First of all, she's leaning like as far.
If the ick
from him
was a person,
it's
the ick
like
personified.
So I'm gonna speak. So Marissa is a Gemini, and I'm gonna speak as a Gemini rising. And you might have experienced this as well, but also you've been in a long term relationship for a while. But ooh, there was always in my like hoe phases, when I was like sleeping
Yeah.
around, right? I would do my little one night stand or whatever, and there would be times, certain times, not always, but there would be times that I would wake up like after hooking up with someone and be like, why are you what are you doing here? And I feel like that was happening with not with Marissa and Riley, obviously, but it was more of that Riley showed Marissa that she was then looking at Connor be like, oh my God. Like she was like, I kissed
She
this
like woke
man and I
up.
told him he was a good
Yeah.
kisser. Yeah. Like I did this so I could get that rose. And she did what she got to do. You know, she did what she had to do. But it was so palpable that she was just like, yeah. He's like, you want to hang out tonight? Can we
Are
explore our
you
connection? And
busy?
she's like,
What are you doing tonight? What do you mean? What am I doing tonight? I don't know.
sure. Which, and so in this moment, we were talking about this briefly right before we hit play, record, but this was the moment where I was like, I don't like either of these people in this situation right now because Connor is not taking the hint, the clearest of hints of like, yeah, a non-answer. But also it sucks because if you give a mutable sign, first of all, two mutable signs, a Gemini in Marissa and a Pisces in Connor are talking to each other, and no one is giving a clear answer about anything. Even Connor isn't being
Yeah.
like, he's like, I want to hang out with you and stuff, but he's not saying, I really like you and I want to be able to work on our connection. I need you. Like he said parts of it, but he's being still too like, well, like, what about later? Is it okay? And it's like, I get it, but it's like, if you really, you gotta be. She obviously likes a forward man, Riley. Um. So anyway, Connor is not taking the hint, but then Marissa is not communicating at all. Like she's not
It was painful. It
speaking
was
real
painful to watch.
things. She's just like, yeah, we'll see. I guess maybe she's doing what I would do in high school when I wanted attention and I liked having attention from boys, but I didn't like them. It's just, and I feel, yeah. So I both felt bad for Connor, but I also was like, bro, read the room.
If you are second guessing, she probably doesn't want to go out on a date with you.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah, yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah.
So.
So anyway, other than that, we had the entrance of um smoke bros, and smoke shows. Smoke bros looking for some smoke shows. I am. If you had to pick a smoke bro to be, which one would you
To
be?
be,
I feel like,
I would
yeah,
be
I feel like
Chris.
I don't know. Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like I unfortunately identify more with Chasen.
I would
So
be Chris for sure. I don't know what the heck to
I
do.
I
I
I
know.
no, I know, and so I'm glad that that's us. So we are now smoke bros, Shannon and Jess. So Smoke Bros are headed for some smoke shows, and Serena P says the true producer fed line of what woman wouldn't want to be called a smoke show? Every single woman. And I'm like, sure, that'd be
Listen,
fine, but
I've been called a smoke show once. Actually, like very legitimately, I've been called a smoke show one time in the past week. But that is one time amongst like a million compliments a day, all of which are much better than smoke show. So like there's nothing wrong with being called smoke show. The problem is that smoke show was all he could come up with.
it was his only
Like
vocabulary.
smoke show is fine. Like I got called a smoke show and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I fucking am. And like that's great and it's good and it's fun. But the problem was the
Exactly.
fact that he couldn't think of anything else. No one gives a fuck about smoke show. Smoke show's fine.
Yeah. And honestly, I am bummed at the missed opportunity of like chasing lighting something on fire or
I
holding
think
something
that
smoking
fucking
in his
picture,
intro.
the for anyone who doesn't follow, we love Bachelor Baby Yoda. I don't know
Yeah.
the exact name of the Instagram off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think it's Bachelor at
But
Bachelor
something
Baby
like
Yoda, I
that.
think.
Yeah. I don't know if there's like extra letters in there or whatever, but they posted two of the Baby Yodas walking by with cigars and it said like the entrance of the Smoke Bros. And it was perfect. It was perfect. I know. And
So good.
honestly, like it would have been brilliant. You're right. If they had like a slow, they're trying to get more into like cinematic shots and like hold on. This is the other thing I wanted to talk about. I'm so sorry for going off topic really fast, but the
No, it's
fucking
okay. It's okay.
background music this episode.
Oh my
Okay,
god, I
will
know
you
everything is
please, for me,
extra.
when we are done recording, go back and rewatch Connor's cohort jumpsuit whatever montage? They're playing like
Oh,
Braveheart battle music in the background of it. Like whoever scored.
I mean, they're all
I
acting enough to might as well just be on the fucking like these people. Like, oh my god, I have no idea who any of these people
Oh my god.
are. Oh, I can't believe you were dating out of here. Oh, you're like, no, we all
No, it really is some
okay, but
like
yeah,
general hospital type shit. It is crazy.
well, but all right, but
I'm
any
sorry. I don't know what made me
Jesus,
think
but
of that.
anyway,
I just went off the
no,
rails.
you're because these two
Oh, the
because
smoke
the
bros.
intro of these two men was so dramatic. So then we have them come down and they are still taking women, blah blah blah, and every man is all worried. And then they end up taking Chase and picks Deandra.
Yes.
Deandra. Do we know if it's
I
Deandra or
think it's
Deandra? They
Deandra.
always keep saying it opposite. And then Chris takes Jasenia after he was like very much like the only person he's like, the only person I want to see is Jasenia. I really wanted to see her. And it's yeah, because you guys were hanging out like all spring before
Yes.
filming. We know. Even if they weren't together or whatever, it's like they actively knew each other a lot. So great, lovely acting and all of that. So this date is I don't know. I think they just took like they wanted to take like 12 cultures and like mix them together for this date. So they had this like Mexican indigenous woman vibe who's playing this weird wood flute. Not weird, but you know, this wooden long flute instrument, and she has a tattoo on her chest. I was obsessed with her. She's reading or she's talking about, you know, intimacy stuff and they're like blowing on each other and then they do Kama Sutra poses and I'm like, what is the Kama Sutra? It's not
Somebody
even
Googled,
Mexican. What are we
some
doing?
producer, some PA Googled intimacy. Like ideas to
Literally.
spice up your sex life, like intimacy ideas, and then just took everything off of like an of 10 list and mashed it all together into a
It's
date.
just like and then not only that, they smushed them together on this large bed together because the smoke bros cannot
Listen,
part.
I maybe this is a me thing. I don't know if I speak for the majority or not, but like I would not have had fun on this date with anybody. With
No.
anybody.
No. I don't want to blow. I don't so one weird this is like the most random thing about me, but um I hate like blowing that sensation does not turn me on in any way actually and oh my god like I actually don't even like when people really kiss my ears because I hate hearing it like I hate that idea so that watching them doing like blowing in like ears and on the toes and fucking I'm like get no like I don't want your breath
Yeah.
on me in
Like
COVID
it
times.
wouldn't have mattered who my like I could have been there with my partner, like someone that I love being intimate with, and then like
Same.
whoever. It doesn't even matter
Don't blow
like the
on
three
me.
other people on the date. It could be literally anybody, and there's no circumstances in which I would have had any fun on this date.
Yeah. So it was
I hated
weird.
watching
I
it.
feel like Chasen and Deandra. Did we even have a I have no notes on a Chasen and Deandra discussion. I only have a note on the fact that Chris and Jasenia talked and made out with fruit in between their mouths.
Um,
Uh, and Chris was just like super aggressive about like I will steal you at any chance I can
I
tonight. I
really
only want to be with you. You are my one and only. Anyway, that being said, yeah, the Kama Sutra dates are tired. Just have them fuck. Why not? Just go ahead. I don't know. Spice
I
it
mean
up.
honestly,
But anyway,
I agree with you.
they obviously yeah. So those two couples end up semi booed up, but we'll get to Chase and Deandra later. Jasenia and Chris don't have any action at all. They like stay and until Jasenia basically tells Ivan like she comes back from the date and she's basically like, yeah, I want to focus more on Chris. And Ivan's like, what the fuck? We had that entire beautiful he didn't say this, but this is my brain. I was like, we had that entire beautiful conversation about race and had a great one-on-one date and I made out with you like that in the pool. And she's like, I just feel more of a connection with Chris. Bitch. Again, back to acting
Well, that's
to
it.
get
Is like
a
I
rose to
hope
wait for Chris. Like,
I just want so badly for it not to be fake because I just can't imagine
I
it
hope
being
Chris and
real.
Jasenia are happy.
No, I can't imagine Jasenia like knowingly playing with Ivan's emotions like that. Like if Ivan wasn't in on the joke, I can't
I
imagine her doing
know.
that, knowing that. You know what I mean? Like it seems like if that was
I know.
unplanned, then she took it like a little too far, and I just can't imagine that. So I think there has to be some kind of
I
like reasonable
I completely
explanation.
agree.
I don't know.
I completely agree that I want to believe better, but
Yeah.
I'm also so cynical about this where I'm just like,
Well,
these
because it
people
does
knew each other.
happen
And
so
it's maybe
often.
and maybe they weren't planning, maybe she really didn't know Chris was gonna come, which I find hard to believe. But it's just I don't know. There is just something, and hey, I'll say this too again. The producers are shit, and they actively put her and Ivan in first, and probably was like, "Oh, Ivan, maybe you should go talk to
Yeah.
Jasenia," like, and
Yeah.
shit like that. They probably made it helped orchestrate it, and also kept Chris back and didn't put him in the initial cast on purpose. So I understand there's manipulation in all of this, but it's still, they knew each other, they talked before. It just sucks in my mind because Ivan and Jasenia, we were literally like we were like
That
stan,
was
we
my
love.
yeah.
So I'm and also I must say this: Chris and Jasenia are Scorpios, both of them, born within like a week of each
Hmm.
other. So not a week, or like very close. Like she's literally a Halloween baby, and he's like November 5th or something, like right
Oh
after,
damn. Okay.
November 8th. So it's like they're so born so close together, and part of me just wonders, like Scorpios who are just making these secret plans and they're being secretive and sus.
Oh, I
And
really.
also, Ivan, apparently Ivan is a Capricorn rising, according to one of his Instagram stories. Apparently he like answered someone a question on live, which I totally see for Ivan. But Cap rising, and Jasenia has a Capricorn moon, and her moon falling in Ivan's first house, he probably felt exactly just emotionally seen, emotionally heard by her. His ascendant is getting that moon emotion energy from Jasenia. And so he's probably feeling a lot of like connectiveness. And then meanwhile, she's like, hi. Like, I got this guy over here. And so again, not to say Jasenia is like shady and horrible. It's just like there's those that like again, Scorpios love a secret. And uh I could see how they may have been planning it, but also she's not like maliciously
Yeah.
shitty. Like I don't dislike any of these people on the beach really. Like I don't think any of these people are like actually bad
Right. Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Of course not.
So anyway, whatever. Moving on because they're so boring. Not boring, but there's nothing else to talk about with Justine and Chris. Abigail, just there's this no note, but Abigail, when Abigail got a bug in her nose, did you notice how it took Noah a full like
He was
too
not listening to
long?
her.
He was not. She was like speaking. She's like, ew, oh my god, what? And he's like, didn't notice anything. He's like, la 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 la, oh, what? And she's like, you did not notice this woman like actually freaking the fuck out? Like, about a bug in her nose?
Yeah, he was not paying
Bro,
attention at all.
I did not like it. But uh, so this is my notes begin. The Mari and Kenny dissolving.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so all right, everybody knows here from last episode, I am not Team Kenny. I'm not like a huge fan of Kenny as a. I mean, he seems like a fine person. Like if I took him off the beach and just whatever, but like in his presence, I'm just like, ugh, why are you here? But Kenny did nothing wrong in any of this. Like anything wrong. Mari is literally just like trying so hard to be like, I want to go on a date with Jason or Chris, but neither of them have asked me. So I'm gonna act like they might, and then we're gonna break. I'm gonna be like, I don't know. It was just she tries not to. She wants to be able to go on a date if somebody asks her, but no one asks her, and then Kenny gets asked later after making out with Demi.
This whole thing was I started getting annoyed at this in the second episode explicitly, but like this is kind of where I started to notice that like they're trying so this didn't need, we don't need to have 2 episodes a week. If we cut out, there's a lot of unnecessary bullshit and conversations that we don't need to see, and like they're kind of stretching it out. And like I understand that there's drama to this and like entertainment to this, But like this is where the mess begins. And like we love to see it. We
Well,
love
exactly,
messiness.
because
But
Mari is this Aries whirlwind. Like, I mean, remember, I would always talk about her from that season as being the one on the, she was always the one winning the group date competitions, but not actually getting good time with Matt.
yeah.
Like, she had zero, but she was always the one like, oh, I won the golden nut. Oh, I won the flag football. I won the, remember all those things? Like, she was winning all those dates because she is fucking competitive. Like, she is the Aries woman archetype in my mind of both like, I'm gonna come in guns blazing and I'm gonna be all over Kenny and I'm gonna be forward and
Yeah.
into it. But then also like, I'm sorry, Aries, but you guys are the baby of the zodiac. You're the first sign, and you fucking Mari was acting like a baby, like a
Well,
child. Like she was just like throwing a tantrum. She's like, I want to go on a date, but no one's asking me, but I'm
I want to
still
keep
want
my
to
option
go.
open in case somebody decides to.
Uh huh.
Well,
And then Kenny's like, well, you can do that, but I'm gonna do that then. And she's like, well, I don't want that. And he's like, well, that's what you're gonna do, so I'm gonna do it too. And the Aries is like, no, like I'm gonna do it.
so this was
Me, just
really
me.
confusing because I don't necessarily find
Yeah.
Kenny to be particularly mature. However, I will say that like
No.
his age in comparison to everybody else's really kind of showed
Oh my
itself
god,
because he's
yes.
like,
Agree.
okay, and what about it? Like in at all the stages. It was like, okay, so like what do you
Yes.
expect? You know what I mean? Like he was very level-headed
It's
and like
clear he has lived 40 years.
yeah,
Like, and this girl has only lived 25.
yes.
Like, no matter, yeah, he's an idiot who wants to walk on the beach naked and have stupid
Yeah, like if
star
he wants to
tattoos.
be goofy, he
But
wants to be goofy. And I think that that's where I think it's
yeah,
apparent to me now.
but he's still post Saturn
But I think it's
return.
like that's what's apparent to me now is like it is not necessarily like immaturity as much as it is like him holding on to his inner child or like being silly or like whatever it is that you want to
Well,
call it. But like he clearly is like aware of things. Like he's not like a
yeah.
complete
Well,
regressed idiot.
he's also like he has a Gemini stellium, and tons of Gemini placements in a chart is always going to make someone act a bit younger because they are usually like Geminis like to keep up with
Yeah.
the times, right? And he is adaptable in all of that stuff. But like also if he's 40, he's probably actually I should look at his legit chart again. But he might be like late Pluto
Hmm.
Libra, which would be like a very interesting like air sign Pluto, that air sign Pluto generation, Gen X, essentially before millennials, which is Pluto Scorpio, is like there is a little bit of a not light, like they're not fully lightheartedness, but like there was an energy that they had that millennials did not get to have, right? We got the fall of the collapse of everything. But anyway, so he's just his air signness is very like apparent, and so that keeps him young, right? But then also, of course, has the moments of the weird shit where you're like, why are you like this? Why are you trying to be naked when you're 40 and all these people are like barely in their early 20s? But yeah, you're right. Post Saturn return, you're still much more fucking mature than any of these other people who are barely even in, I mean, Serena is probably still in a fucking Saturn square right now, like, which is ridiculous to think about, like how she has like so many years before her Saturn return. Anyway, the only people so far I think that are post Saturn return on the beach are Joe, Kenny, Becca, Tia. I think that's it. Maybe, but yeah. Anyway, that being said, they're the only ones who are somewhat mature, but also those people are not mature. Anyway, but yes, Mari Kenny, this shit became the mess because after their conversation, Mari tells Demi about it. And then Demi's like, yeah, I mean, that's makes sense that you want to have options open, la la la. And then she's like, but now your man is open, so I'm gonna go get him. Like, I mean,
I'm not. I can't. You can't argue
I
with her
get it.
logic because it's fair, and I understand that she's been through this
And it's
before. Right?
paradise.
Exactly. She's been through this before, and like paradise is paradise, and you're supposed to date around, and that's the point. And that goes to what we were saying in the very beginning, where it's like people aren't willing to date around because nobody wants to be vulnerable and left in a position to go home, so they just like latch on to the thing. It's like this
Yeah.
is a group of people that when you're like playing tag when you're a kid and there's a home base, instead of like running around and fucking playing the game, they like run around near home base or like musical chairs.
so that they can
The kids that when
yep,
you play musical chairs,
stay
instead
really
of
close to
going
the
to it, they like
chairs.
walk really
Yep.
fast and then they get close to the chair and they keep it slow. You know, like those people that like,
Yep.
yeah. So like that's the type of group that we're dealing with. They're like those types of people or like that type of gameplay. And I can't argue with Demi's logic. My thing about Demi is that like there's no need, Demi, if you're listening, I know you're not, but if you ever do, you can be yourself and be whoever you want without being like outwardly slimy and like a dick about it. Like you can make the moves that you make
Yeah.
in like a more tactful way. Like you don't need to be an
Yeah.
asshole.
She definitely went in. She definitely went in full guns blazing.
But it's
I
like
don't
you
give
don't
a
need to
fuck.
say the
I
mean
will
things
do
that you
anything.
say. Like just fucking okay, great. Like if you want to steal her man,
Yeah.
steal her man. But don't sit there on a bench and say I'm better 8,000 times to people that aren't involved in this situation. Like, girl, I know you're on TV,
Yeah.
but like fucking chill.
And I know she's definitely, again, back to acting. Everybody on
Absolutely.
this beach is fucking acting. She's playing this part so much of like, I am hot shit. I'm going to win all of it. La, la,
So
la, la. Your man wants
unnecessary.
me. And it's like, look, it's fine to be confident. Just like chill, please. But yeah, I also
It's like
think
it's
too, when
paradise, not
they
real
like,
housewives, like or bad girls club. Like it's really not that fucking
well,
serious.
she wants it to be so badly. But so yeah, again, I'm like, girl, yeah, go after Kenny. But um but I will also say Mari too being like right in front of me, really. And
You
I'm
can
like,
get up and leave.
there are only so many, right, there are only so many places to like make out here. Also, producers are for sure
Like
making
guiding
them
them in
go
places.
somewhere
Yeah.
specifically. Yes, like, okay, let's go film over here on this
Lighting's
day
better
bed.
over
Like,
here,
oh, let's go
guys.
over
Let's go over
this one's
here.
empty. Yeah, this one's empty, or this will make a good shot, right? Or whatever. And so people are like, sure, we'll go
Exactly.
talk over there. Like, it doesn't matter. They're just gonna talk anywhere. They're gonna make out anywhere. But Mari, yeah, you don't have to sit right. Also, Mari, they positioned you right there, probably too, being like, oh, maybe Mari, you
And
should
I have
sit
that
right
same energy
here,
with
or
Aaron
who
later.
knows?
Like I understand he's upset about Tammy and Thomas, but like you if you are that uncomfortable, you can
Yeah.
get up and leave. Like I know you were there first and
Yep.
like whatever argument you want to make. If you're
And I know
uncomfortable,
that
you can
you
get up and go.
also, and I know that both you bitches, as Mari and Aaron, I know both of you are mad that this is happening, and you guys want to hate watch
You
it.
want to see
Literally,
it.
like you want to sear it into your brain so that you can keep every detail in your mind, so that you can go and be like, you did this, Y, and Z. You had your tongue down her throat. You were touching her bare ass because they were blackboxing Demi's ass the entire time. Which something about that to me felt like it was done not because her ass
I
was
just want to make
fully
it
showing
seem
and it
like
was
more
like
provocative
inappropriate.
because like she's definitely
Yeah.
wearing probably like
I
a
don't
thong bathing
think,
suit and maybe it like it's too much.
yeah, but like they have shown ass on the beach before. They
Yeah.
don't black it out always. Like, and so it's just, yeah. But that being said, Demi is also so much when she flirts. She's like, yeah, these cheeks have been out all day because they want you to see them. Like, she sounds like she's putting on that Valley Girl voice for this, and I'm like, girl, you're from Texas. Like, you're not,
Well,
this is
that's what's
not
crazy is like there's a moment later
uh,
where when Demi's talking about like maybe going on a date with Tia and they're having a real conversation. She's like, okay, like what did you want me to say about it? And I'm like, it's like the fucking Michelle Visage from Drag Race. Like, this is how I talk. It's like, no, that's how you talk. That's how you talk.
mm-hmm.
That right there. In the moment where you're
Yeah.
like,
And then
what? Like, well, I'm not gonna be happy about it. Like that's different than like, what? Like I'm
oh
Demi.
my god,
Like
oh my
it's like,
god, I am so much hotter than Mari. My hair is so much better. Like, the shit that she says, but she sounds like, and I'm sorry, she sounds like that. Like, that's what she sounds. And literally, I have her quotes. Oops, there's my nipple. They always pop out.
it's once again, it's be no one's saying like don't be who you are,
She
be who you
is,
are, but like, come on.
she's like, I mean, this is the same girl who was like talking to James for the first time. He's like, oh my god, are we gonna have sex? Like, and is telling Brendan like, you're so hot, Brendan, and told Kenny, who was like, yeah, you took my boy on the date, and she's like, well, he was so hot. Like, what do you expect? He's so hot. I'm like, god damn it. We get it. You think every man on the beach is hot. It's just awkward. Okay. But they make out, and they go to the fucking boom boom room eventually, which is insane to me. And then that's also a manipulation tactic Pisces Demi tries to use later to be like, well, we went to the boom boom room. Like, I don't want to be with anybody but you. And he's like, I didn't realize we were like an official thing. And then he goes on the date with Tia. Like, so all of the way that it all unfolds is absurd. But anyway, I'm trying to find. Oh, I have notes about Natasha and Brendan's
I
conversation.
okay.
Um,
I
because I think they finally kiss. Like, this is when they finally kiss. But the first note I have is, and I obviously know this is not true because I understand Brendan's circumstances, and I think he's literally waiting on Piper to get there and he doesn't care about Natasha. But Natasha, I literally go, Natasha and Brendan are two bottoms and no one is initiating anything. They're just lying. Like, the memes that you see of just two people lying flat like boards next to each other, that is Natasha and Brendan. They do not know how to initiate any physical anything. They're like, we haven't kissed. And meanwhile, Brendan and Demi kissed the first date because Demi was like, can I kiss you? And he's like,
it's
yeah. Like,
literally
he's a bottom, she's a bottom, they're
it's literally like in
bottoms.
like
First of all, hello, lol, Aries.
on right before
Aries
like
women are
your
bottoms.
first
Aries are
date
bottoms.
or like right before when you're in like middle school, like I mean, I don't know about kids now, but like back when we were in
Yeah.
middle school, like you have your first boyfriend and you're like in the hallway and your friends are like, go hold his hand, like go hold his hand, like
Go and touch him. Like, go, oh my
yeah,
God. Like,
like that's how this felt to me. Like I was watching and I'm like, oh my God, like it's like, well, like I have something to tell you.
it's
Okay, well, like I have something to tell you too. And it's like someone just say something.
And then it's so absurd that then Natasha talks to fucking Lance Bass and he basically has to remind her, like, women can make a move too. Like, a gay man.
This whole
So,
conversation was
I just,
so forced
I just
and
like,
so
oh yeah.
awful and hilarious for so many different reasons. Like I will tell everybody a million times until I'm dead, like blue in the face. I love Lance Bass more than humanly possible, it seems sometimes.
No, I want him. I would love him
But
as a
it is
permanent host. I could see it when
hilarious,
he sits there with
Shannon,
the cute little.
him trying to play dumb when you know that he is because he's a host. All the producers are telling him all the shit that's like happened, all the things that are going on in Bachelor Nation, like all the news, all the gossip, whatever. Lance Bass is so aware, and the fact that he sits there and is like, well, like, what do you mean? So you're saying that like he could have maybe had somebody back home? What? Are you sure? Like that, like I just everything about
It's embarrassingly bad. And Brendan is a bad actor too. Natasha
what is
is
going
selling it a
on with
little
this
more, but not
show?
really. Even when Natasha gives Brendan her rose later, she literally gives it to him. She's literally like this. She's holding the rose. She looks at it and she just looks up the top of her eyes without moving her head. She doesn't even really smile. She just goes, Brendan. I it's how you flirt when you're awkwardly not into it, feel like you need to be, and all that. And honestly, Natasha, I was thinking about this too. So remember how there were like rumors pre-Paradise that it was like difficult to get people on,
Sort of.
and now, yeah, like it wasn't like obviously it seems like it's not difficult because there's
Right.
so many people on it now, but like, there are some people who aren't showing up that would have, like Bennett, or like there are some people that would have been bigger gets that aren't there.
Yeah.
Kit, even, honestly, I really wish Kit was in Paradise. It would, but she's in Montauk all summer. So anyway, I wonder because like every when I say every single, I don't mean like every single one of them. I mean every single, like not in a relationship, every single podcast host that is a Bachelor podcast affiliate is on the show. Becca, Natasha, Joe, because Tasha's not. Rachel's not. Well, Rachel wasn't in the. She's no longer doing the Bachelor thing. Who's doing? No, Tasha is doing Happy Hour with Becca right now, or whatever. But anyway, I'm just thinking about all of these people, and I'm like wondering if they got them because they were like, "Well, I mean, we already kind of pay you to, yeah, like just come on." And maybe Becca was the hardest one to get, and it's just like it just makes me really wonder.
Yeah. Agreed.
Anyway, so whatever. We'll move on. But nah, so Natasha and Brendan are annoying. Joe and Serena go out, and I don't really care about their date. It was so boring. They were at a wrestling thing and they talked about, oh, what will happen if Kendall gets here? And Joe's like, well, I won't want to
Surprise.
see her and I won't want to say yes to her. And yeah, Kendall comes later. Woohoo. Okay. So that was nothing. Anyway, so is this when
I
Carl?
have in my notes, I've got.
I was like, is this when Carl gives the
So
bracelet?
before we've got Connor, who's like learning about the boom boom room, and like that's ultra painful, but we already talked about
Oh
that.
yeah, and he's all
And then
sad
there's Ivan
boy.
talking to
Yeah.
Jasenia, and Jasenia basically saying, yeah,
Oh,
and we
that's
already
when she
kind of
dumps
talked about that
him.
too, so he jumped around. And then we've got, I have it in big bold letters, Chasen, Carl, Deandra.
I literally, so I was tweeting, so not a lot of my astrology, like anytime I tweet about The Bachelor on my astrology like chef account, which everybody, if you are on Twitter and you're listening to this podcast, fucking follow me on Twitter. I am all over Twitter. Wait, like I live on Twitter, y'all. I'm a Mercury person, of course I do. But seriously, so I'm on Twitter and I know a very few amount of my like astrology friends that watch The Bachelor, and I saw one of them tweeting. Shout out to Deandra, but she wait, oh my god, her name is literally Deandra too. But she was tweeting and she goes, I need to know what's in Deandra's second house. So the second house in astrology rules possessions. And often like people talk about second house synastry, like when you're dating somebody or you know somebody or have like related to someone who has a lot of planets in your second house, they can be really good gift givers to you because the second house is like your possessions. It's like if you like, so for instance, Jess, I feel like you would be a great gift giver. You have Moon in the second house. She's like,
I
yeah.
think that
Do
I
people tell,
am.
I mean, yeah, when you give a gift, it's like,
I'm a very like
yeah,
thoughtful gift
that is a
giver.
second house thing, right? And you have second house Moon. So like you literally, when you want to emotionally give to someone, you are like ready to be like, I will curate this perfect gift for you. So that being said,
Yeah,
she was tweeting, she's like, I
interesting.
wonder what Deandra's second house looks like. Why is she getting all of this stuff from these people? What is this?
That she clearly
No, oh
doesn't
my god. And I
want.
feel so it's clear that Carl actually brought that horrible bracelet because he lives in the mid 2000s and thinks Pandora is still trendy. Also, apparently, his his motivational speaking thing is an MLM. Yeah.
I believe that.
So, multi-level marketing scheme.
But this was an indicator to me that Carl does not have
Women
many
in his life.
millennial aged female
Yes.
friends.
Yes.
Because like whether his like older sister or like his mom or his aunt or whoever, like I think Pandora bracelets are cute. I really do like the concept. I don't wear one because I don't wear
It's
jewelry for the most part. I work with my
right.
hands. But it's like it's very, you're right in the sense that that was very trendy like when
I
I was in high
remember
school.
my mother
Like
collecting so many Pandora stuff. I remember going to these.
I
Do you
literally
have?
have
Oh my
mine
god!
right
Stop. Do
here
you remember the
because my jewelry box is right next
Brighton
to it. Yeah.
stores where you would go literally, and they
Yes.
had the Tuscans? Okay,
Yes.
so Carl brings this bracelet when he gives. So first of all, giving it to Deandra, I understand he brought it. Like he literally was like, I'm gonna bring this to give to the woman that I'm gonna marry on Paradise because he firmly came into Paradise being like, I will lead with the wife. Like he is. This is the funniest part sometimes about Sagittarius. No,
He
like
truly believed it.
I
He really
love
did.
Sagittarius for this reason, and I'm talking about myself, but also Sagittarius men, like literally delusional confidence. And it's annoying because it was annoying on Katie's season. But with this, it's just like funny, and they're making a joke of it because
Yeah.
it is funny. Like his whole like, oh, I have no problem with I'm not worried about Deandra. You, but then he's like, well, you're not in love with the kid.
But it's like people started doing that in Love Island where they would like bring things from home or they would bring gifts and be like, I'm going to give this to the person that I pick, like once I know that I'm in love with them or whatever. And I think that it's cute in sentiment,
But it's
right? Like I think that it's sweet. It's a cute gesture. But like you can't get a charm bracelet for someone that you don't know yet. Like that's like kind
it
of it's like
doesn't work
getting
like
like a
that.
glass with someone's name on it and you don't know their name
Exactly.
yet. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So
And he's like, well, I got you a palm tree because we met in paradise, and I got you a heart because
it's
of this, and
romance.
all these things. And I'm just like, you literally didn't even know who this woman was. You didn't even know who
Days
was going to
ago.
be here. You're doing
No,
too
it
much.
and so if the Pandora necklace was too, or the Pandora bracelet was too much. Chasen's necklace chain was
Chasen.
what the
Chasen. What the fuck
actual.
were you
So first
thinking,
of
dude?
all,
What the actual fuck
that
were you
so
thinking?
all right, wait. Did you see my post on the story of the Do the Roses Line story from
I did.
Fuckboy Island with this
Yes.
chain?
So I want to say that
Mm.
I would wear that necklace appropriately styled. With an outfit that was appropriately styled, I would wear that necklace. I don't think it's that bad. What I think is crazy is that it's probably really expensive, unless it's like really fake and then it's like even more embarrassing that he gave it to
Oh
her.
my god, right.
But it's
Well,
like Chasen had a manic moment,
I
Shannon, and just gave away something that was in his
I
luggage.
genuinely either think that, like, firmly agree that yes, it was full, like, oh, I gotta one up, man. But I
He like
also,
disassociated and just gave
but
something
part of me
away.
also just genuinely believes that a producer left left the resort and just went to a fucking street market and just found that necklace. It was like what you see like Cardi B and Offset wearing when they're like, because they're obsessed with chains and stuff and wearing all this jewelry and shit, but they'll wear huge shit like actively, and it's like, at least like, I think those chains can look great, but the red God, Deandra looked so hot at that rose ceremony in that red dress. She looked amazing. And then Chasen put that chain on, and I was like, ugh, okay. And I'm just so happy. So anyway, Carl's so fucking awkward. Chasen panics, gets this necklace. It's painfully weird that it makes no sense. Nothing makes any sense. And then I love it. Miss Queen Gemini Deandra is like, you know what? Fuck both y'all. I'm gonna give my rose to Ivan, and both of you bitches are gonna go home.
I
Goodbye
loved
to your
it.
jewelry. I don't want any of it. And honestly, that in my opinion is a power move. Also, because thank God I wanted Ivan to stick around. I was so upset that he was gonna maybe go home. Um,
Me too.
so I just can't believe we have these ugly ass things, and it makes no sense. But then this is also when I hated the way that Chasen and Chris were talking about it. Chasen's like, just a leprechaun handing out lucky charms just to get that rose, and then he gives a necklace as if that's not okay. Um,
That's what I mean. Like, I don't think Chasen like
Would have woken up the next day and been like, oh fuck, like I gave away
and
my
then
necklace.
Chris is like, you made
fuck.
that bracelet look like a little bitch bracelet. You're just like, dude, like, what is with this stupid bro talk? Like, ugh, how old are we? Um,
No, but
no,
honestly though, we went
I
back to high school. We've been
literally
magically transported.
hated it. But then we had, wait, where's, oh wait, I can't believe, wow, Kenny, I keep forgetting that Kenny wasn't on uh
I can't find
not.
a single photo of Chasen wearing jewelry.
Yeah, I just think that I genuinely, I think a producer got the necklace. The bracelet was Carl being weird and untrendy, and like you said, I'm gonna plan to give this to the woman that I love, and you're like, just
And it's like sweet, but it's not something you would do in national
yeah,
television. You would do it to somebody who thinks that someone who would like a Pandora
yeah.
bracelet.
But I had the note really quickly of everybody when they said the craziest place that they had sex and the few people that answered, and Kenny was like a Ferris wheel, which is so fucking Gemini of him. I can't even handle it. And he's a Taurus Mars, which is very random to me too, but a Venetian Mars on a Ferris wheel. And then Abigail is a
This
Leo Mars on the golf course.
this whole interaction, because then the next thing that they asked was, who do you want to have sex with the most? I literally was like, okay, so
That, yeah.
hello, Love Island hell once
Yep.
again. Like, can you guys please stop be two separate entities, like be two completely separate
Yep.
things. Like, please stop like taking pages from each other, because they both do the other person's thing so poorly. So like,
Yeah.
stick to what you know and just fucking stop.
Yeah, whenever. But Trey said he has had sex in a cemetery, which I had to run back to his chart. Trey is a Scorpio Venus and a fucking Capricorn Sun, Moon, Mercury. Like, he of
Trey.
course was fucking in a cemetery.
Trey.
That is the kind of person who fucks in a cemetery, is Capricorn, Scorpio, and a Virgo Mars. Like, it's so funny like that to me. And then James says a trampoline, which I'm just like, you fucking Aries. Jesus. Anyway.
Sure.
So that was just me being like, what are these? I need to find out why each of these people said these signs, their signs. And like why is this happening? But then this is when Demi brings out the cake, which happens again every single paradise. We have somebody have a cake for a birthday, and then something happens to the cake because it's always a dramatic moment. And so Demi brings out the cake, la la la, you're celebrating your 40th. And then they, you know, she has a pinata. Demi takes away Kenny to go somewhere else. Mari then angrily throws the cake into a fire because she's an Aries and there's always going to be fire involved. And Riley milks it. And he was like, I wanted to get a piece of that cake.
I mean, I would have wanted a piece of that cake too, depending on where it came from. But like, once again, I don't know if I don't know where this is coming from, Shannon. I don't know if it's like, I know you say like it's in their charts and stuff like that. I don't know if it's from like immaturity or if it's from like wanting to play up for the cameras, but like, whose instinct is to throw the cake into a fire? Like the drama.
No, like that
like,
is like for sure Mari. Like makes so much sense. Wait, let me pull up. Where's my Matt's woman? I have too many forms up. Okay, because I wanted to see her. Where'd she go? Mari. There we go. Yeah, she's an Aries Mars too. I was like, she's the Sun, Moon, Mars are all in Aries, and she's a Taurus, Mercury, and a Gemini Venus. The Gemini Venus is why she wanted to have her cake and eat it too. Also why she wanted Kenny. Wow, the Gemini energy there. But yeah, the Mars and Aries, literally, she's like, yes, that it's impulse. It's like peak impulse to just do something.
Yeah.
And so she was like, fuck it, cake, fire, like anything. And so Aries act entirely on those impulses. But then this is when it literally just like, I don't know how, but this end of the episode from this point on was actually chaos. Like, this is when Mari is yelling at Demi, and Mari's like, I feel betrayed, you did this to me. And she's like, well, you said you wanted to date around. And she's like, well, this is when Mari pulls the, again, bullshit Aries response. She goes, she was like, well, are you cool with being a second option? Because he just said he wanted to fuck me before you came down. And Demi was like, I don't care. She was like, I want to fuck people. That's what we're here to do. I literally, like, and this was the moment where I was like, damn, Mari, you lost. Like, just take the L.
So this argument, like, it's very clear that, like, when it came to the actual exchanging of words, like, Demi outspoke her.
Yeah.
Like, Demi was able to, like, verbalize her thoughts a little more clearly than Mari was able to. But I truly think that walking away from this conversation, Mari probably felt better, and I would bet my life that Demi either cried or wanted to cry.
Oh, well, of course, she's a water sign. And
do you know what I mean? But that's what's so funny about it is, like, when you watch the actual argument happen, you're like, okay, like, Demi winner, Mari loser, in like the verbal fisticuffs that occurred. Yes. But in the actual aftermath of the argument, it's like,
exactly. And I literally exactly like Pisces Demi would walk away from that and be emotional, and Mari would be like, yeah, I fucking told her off. But also, like, even if she didn't win, Aries, it's like, as long I got to yell, so I feel better. Like, literally, like, again, yes, exactly. Back to a baby. What do babies do when they're mad? They just fucking scream and cry. And then when they're over with you're like, are you done with your tantrum? And they're like, yeah, okay. And they're like, are you mad now? And they're like, no. Like, that's literally a fucking Aries. Like, it's, and Taurus to a level too, but Tauruses are more, they're like the older toddler that gets a little more stubborn with them. And they're like, no, I don't want to do that. And you're like, okay, well, we have to. So I'm going to pull you to do it anyway. Like, you don't have a choice. Like, that's literally, that's the difference between the Taurus and the Aries of, like, young energy of their anger, so to speak. But anyway, then so they have that fight. Then Mari pulls Kenny, is just like, you're disrespectful for this. And he's like, you started this, which is, again, not wrong. And she said I was like, I never said that I was going to talk to other people. And he's like, yeah, you did. Like, this really was like, Mari, I'm sorry, what reality are you in right now.
No, and this is another instance where it's like Kenny's age was
Yes.
shown, because
Yeah.
like I can understand where Mari thought that she might have said like, no, 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 like I didn't say I wanted to date other people. I just like I wanted to have the option in case somebody wanted to date me. And she was like trying to twist that into her favor. She's like, well, no, 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 I didn't say that there's anyone that I wanted to date. I'm just saying like I wanted to have the option to say yes if someone asked
Yeah, I
me.
didn't want to have to
And
talk
then
about it
Kenny's like,
then.
okay, but do you understand that I now, yes, okay, you have that opportunity. I also had that opportunity, and somebody asked me, and I said yes.
Yeah, literally.
So,
And that's what's
and it's
funny is
like,
at this point Tia hasn't even showed up, and that part hasn't even happened yet because
or like, sorry, yeah, but you
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like the chance to explore with somebody else, and I did. Like someone did want to explore with me, so I said yes to
So I
exploring with
did,
them.
yeah.
And Mari's like, no, but that's not what I said. And it's like, and Kenny's like,
Girl,
I don't have time for your fucking games.
literally, he's like, "You're a child. You're 25. You
He's like,
did say
this is
that."
what you said, so this is what I heard.
And also, like,
End of discussion.
honestly, fucking true though. Like, when you are, there is that point of adulthood where you get there where you're like, you know what? I'm not gonna argue if you think you didn't say what you actually said because I know what happened. Like, I'm
That's why
aware.
at any age, communication is key. Literally, communication is key. And
Yep.
just by the time you hit like Kenny's age, you're just tired of like being patient, waiting for somebody else to communicate properly
Yeah.
with you.
Which is
It
why,
just becomes a
and
lot.
honestly, which is why I think Kenny and Tia kind of work out. Not because
I
they,
kind of,
not because I
I
like,
kind of
yeah,
like Kenny
yeah,
too.
like that was not as bad of a pairing as I expected. Also, because Leos and Geminis do
Same.
love each other. Okay, but after all of that bullshit, this is when Tammy and Thomas.
Tammy, and Aaron.
Yep.
Woo! More chaos.
And this is finally when Tammy is talking to Thomas and they like bond over, I guess, their little villain edits. And then he's like, well, I would have like wanted to kiss you, but Aaron's here, so I'm not doing that. This is Gemini. She's like another Aries and Gemini, which was also Mari and Kenny. Aries and Gemini are a great combo, and they love each other because Aries is like, fuck it, let's do it, and the Gemini's like, okay. But that's exactly what Thomas is doing here. He was like, I mean, I wanted to, but I didn't because of I understood this that would have been bad. And Tammy's like, nah, fuck it. I want to kiss you too. Straddles him, does the same move she did on Aaron to claim her territory against Serena C.
And that's kind of where I have a lot of issues with this whole scenario. Like, this whole thing is so absolutely absurd. Like, I don't know what they were trying to do, or like, I agree with Tammy self sabotaging. Like, I don't give Joe much credit, but he said that, and I think that's accurate. Like, this was a whole unnecessary mess that could have been avoided because, and what kills me is like, we know I'm not like necessarily a Thomas defender as much as I'm a Thomas sympathizer,
Yeah.
but it's like, Aaron is like fucking yelling at Thomas, like, just have some respect for me, dude. And I'm like, okay, but he was actually trying to, though. Like, you don't know this, and like, he's clearly not going to say this to you, but he was literally trying.
Yep. No,
And I'm sorry that it didn't work out for you, but like, take a fucking second to breathe.
So I posted right before we started recording, I posted on the story about Thomas and Aaron's synastry, which is their charts on top of each other, because both of them have confirmed rising signs. Aaron is a Scorpio rising, which makes a lot of sense. And Thomas is a Aquarius rising. So not only that, the rising signs are square, which already is a mess. But what I noticed is that so Aaron, being a Scorpio rising, means that his ruling planet, chart ruler, is his Mars, which is in Cancer. Mars in Cancer is Mars in fall. Mars does not do well in Cancer because Cancer is okay. So it's funny because this is not what Aaron is, but this is like the general reason. Like Mars, like Cancer doesn't tend to like confrontation, and if they do, they don't do it well. They do it passively. They do it emotionally, like, and not actually like trying to fix the problem, just like reacting emotionally to the problem. And that is what Aaron does at any moment. He gets so personally offended by other people's shit, and you're just like, dude, you gotta rein it in. And it's not to say that men or anybody shouldn't be emotional when they're arguing, but it's just like, Aaron's emotions come out like a man, whereas like I'm a Cancer Mars too, and when I get mad, I fucking cry. But when Aaron gets mad, he immediately runs to like all of the, he gets real in it. Like it's like the second
Like
his
yell, yell,
anger,
yell,
yeah,
yell.
like in the second his anger starts, it gets really unhinged. And that's another example of Mars in fall, just like Mars having actually
Corny
no
little bitch
clue.
boy, big bodied trash can.
Like he's just I remember someone on Twitter, someone on Astro Twitter before has described Mars and Cancer as like if you were trying to fight with a pool noodle, like it, and it's just like not doing anything, because that's exactly what that is. Like Aaron, those words mean nothing, Aaron. Like doing that means nothing. Like, and I honestly don't believe Aaron will throw a punch because he's a Cancer Mars. Like there's
No way.
there's no part
Not a
of
chance.
Aaron and Thomas throwing punches at each other. It's really funny. And also he's being very Scorpio, because the Scorpios, despite the fact that they're ruled by Mars, if you think of a scorpion, they don't fight you immediately. It just takes them a minute, and then they decide to fucking sting, and they sting once and it's done. Like Aaron is much more afraid of other people. Is much more afraid of you than you are of them. They just they make themselves seem scarier so that you stay away from them. And so Aaron is trying so hard to just like he's just trying so hard to come at Thomas. And it's like, dude, Thomas is a Taurus Mars and is kind of unmovable in this situation. Because also, again, Thomas didn't do anything. Thomas actually told Tammy, like, I wasn't going to hit on you because of Aaron. And then she's like, fuck Aaron, I'm going to hit on you. Like, that's on Tammy, Aaron. That's not on Thomas.
There are things that I don't like about Thomas, and there are things that I don't like about his attitude and whatever. But there's something about, if you're like watching two people argue, there's something about the person that just stands there and like may engage. They might be engaging, but the person that like stands there like all calm and stoic, it's just like, oh.
Yeah. There's something kind of hot about it. Yeah. And I'm not
like, you can control your emotions. Like, okay.
I'm not gonna lie, like I'm somewhat softening to Thomas, and I know this is what BIP does to villains on purpose, all of them, almost all of them. So I am resisting it, and also he is a man, so I will never.
But it's like
fully
it's very
But-
Alea energy. Why the fuck can't I remember her name? And it's like people are like, well, she's so fake. Like, fuck her. She's so fake. And it's like, no, she's not fake. She is who she is. You just don't like who she is.
and
that's
okay.
Fine.
Yeah. It's
you don't
okay
have to like
her.
who Thomas is. But don't you're like
Yes.
saying that Thomas is like a phony or a liar. It's like, no, you just don't like him. And that's
Yeah.
totally your prerogative. But don't claim that he's pulling the wool over your eyes if he's being pretty honest, actually.
Oh God. So anyway, but back to their synastry. So back to Mars and Cancer on Aaron. So he's the Mars person. He's the Mars. So imagine Aaron as the planet Mars. Thomas has a Cancer Mercury. And Cancer Mercury is the one who Thomas is always fucking tripping over his words. He poorly communicated with Katie, which is why none of us liked him. He really doesn't communicate. He even poorly communicated with Serena, like vaguely scared her off and all of that stuff. And not to say like, but that Cancer Mercury, Thomas is literally just like kind of vibing and existing and speaking and doing all this stuff, and everything that he says, the words he says, Thomas Mercury, are peak anger Thomas or anger Aaron, everything about it. So it's like Cancer Mercury gets to say all the stuff, and Cancer Mars is the one that's angry about it, and their Mercury and Mars are like right on top of each other, like so close, like within 3 degrees. And when you're that close, it just like it makes sense. So anyway, when you have synastry like that, Mars is an interesting thing to look at with anybody's synastry, because if Mars is all up on one specific planet, like something about that planet might agitate the Mars person, aka Aaron, in this situation. So yeah, when I saw that, I was like, no wonder. Because yeah, y'all, synastry ain't just for relationships. do it with your worst enemies too, because there's something about it. And also Scorpio, Aaron's
So like,
Scorpio stuff falls right on Thomas's MC and midheaven. So Aaron's Scorpio is like trying really hard to expose, like quote unquote expose Thomas and put all of his secrets out to light in the public.
so when Aaron was like, Thomas is my nemesis, he like actually meant it.
Yeah,
He
no,
literally
firmly.
called him like his mortal enemy, and I'm like, oh my god.
Also since Thomas, wait a minute, let me double check Thomas's. Yeah, so Thomas Taurus Mars. So Aaron is a Scorpio, so Scorpio rising, or Thomas's Taurus Mars falls on Aaron's descendant probably. And the descendant is the opposite of the ascendant. So we have a Sagittarius descendant. So the descendant can be both people you absolutely adore and want to bring around you all the time. I love Sagittarius sons, but at the same time, I have been burnt by Sagittarius sons more than anybody else. Like, because of that descendant, it rules close friends and enemies. Because to be an enemy, you have to kind of know each other. You can't just hate an enemy. You can't truly call someone an enemy that you don't know a little bit, like whatever. But that's exactly that. He's my nemesis. Mars on the descendant. The end. Like, that's absolutely it. So love that synastry moment. Aaron and Thomas were meant to be rivals, and I will watch it forever. I think it's fine. Also because it is kind of funny. I personally also, Aaron is such a Virgo, like constantly like, I think you should be doing that. Yeah, like the very Virgo energy of like, everybody else should be doing all this other shit. I have comments on everybody and everything. I have really annoying words and all this bullshit. It's like, he's so easily picked at. It's just, if I were Thomas, it would just become a game to me eventually.
And I kind of think that
Mm.
it has. I think that based on his reaction to when Aaron was yelling at him, like whether that's just his stoic nature, like it is very clear that he's not taking this seriously. And he has that air about him where it's like, I'm gonna go home from this show and I will never have to see you again if I don't want to. Like this is nothing to me.
That was basically the end of the episode, was them posturing up at each other. And I hated it because Aaron is like, he stole my girl. And I literally wrote in my notes, I'm like, IDK dude, your girl straddled him. And then I was like, when are all these people going to realize that everything is going to happen in front of everyone? That's the whole point of Paradise.
But it's like, I understand that it's been a couple days since this happened, so maybe your relationship could have strengthened so significantly in the 2 days since it happened. Sure. But it was completely and totally fine when Serena C was there and both of them were straddling him back to back. So he had time to like figure out how he felt about it. And it's like, so when Tammy does it to you, it's like such insane disrespect and like, oh my God, with my enemy, like blah, blah, blah. Like what? Like shut up. Oh, guys, it's literally a TV show. I know there are real feelings involved, but it's literally a TV show. Calm down.
This is all meant to happen to you. They are doing this to you on purpose.
Like, how do you not assume that you're going to be, like, traumatized? How do you not sign up going, like, I know something is going to happen that is going to just really fuck me up for the next couple years?
Yeah, the delusions these people live in are really
the hubris, man.
Anyway, we finally, wow, we're on the next episode, but it just continues with fucking Aaron and Thomas's fight, which just continues, and Tammy ends up going over, and this is when I was not fucking okay. Trey, that's human trash bag behavior. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Relax. Calling Tammy a human trash bag? Like, do I like Tammy?
Do I think that it was like a little much? Rude. And would I have done it? No, but would I don't. The circumstances are different. Like I'm never gonna be like, yeah, go Tammy, this was great. But I also can't like say that she did anything like trash bag behavior.
I just think these people,
great, but damn,
post quarantine and post show are just so lonely.
I think they want to be GIFs real bad.
Yeah.
I think, I swear to God, I think that they're all trying to throw out these one-liners in the hopes that it'll like make camera with their face and they'll have a real like, memeable moment and go viral and whatever. Because that's not like, come on, like corny little bitch boy and big body trash can and human trash bag behavior. Like these are all like, guys, be more creative at least. Come on.
Come on.
And then eventually Tammy is crying in an ITM and is like, it was never my intention to hurt him, but she did. And then she tells him that she wants to pursue Thomas, and she then is all over Thomas while Aaron does nothing, and it's ridiculous.
Well, Aaron sits there and yells about the fact that it happened in front of him, and it's like, so get up and walk away.
So go away.
Please. Go to the bar, get some water, go take a shower.
Yep. And then this is when Chasen gives Deandra the chain.
Yes.
So the bracelet had already so she had the bracelet, and then this is finally when this all happens, and then this is when Noah is like, I got my mama Pandora bracelet in 2000, and then he goes, and Chasen gave her some fucking Cuban chain. Like, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, this Noah's like bold fucking comments. I'm just like, like every time I'm like, can't deny.
I just
can't disagree.
This move by Chasen,
peak Scorpio.
I don't even. It's actually no surprise to me that Deandra picked Ivan, because like thinking about it, if a man gave me a gift, and then a man that I had just met, literally just met, and even though we had just spent the day together, gone on a date, whatever, we just met that day, and like the guy I've been seeing for in paradise time, like at least like 2 weeks now. Well, it's been like 3 days, but like that amounts. I don't know how you would like what the conversion factor is to like real life time. But like this guy I've been seeing gets me a gift, and then someone that I just met that day buys me a seemingly more extravagant gift. That doesn't make me want to pursue things with you. That makes me think that you're going to kill me someday.
Yes. You're going to take my skin and wear it
like a suit. Like you are going to.
And he's going to wear her so that Chris and him can finally be in love, like they are.
That's a turn that I wasn't expecting, but
it's.
But
you see me, right?
That's like alarming behavior, is it not? Like, am I alone in feeling that that's just like really bizarre for him to be like, I'm gonna panic and give her a necklace? Like, Chasen, hun.
Yep.
You okay?
And fucking Carl, I do love this part where Carl calls your Captain Upper Pants.
Carl,
oh,
hello?
That's so silly.
Carl, what's going on?
No, all of this was a mess.
Literally,
and then Demi too was like,
water.
This shit was hideous.
Okay.
Yeah. So
this is where I think that Demi watches, I don't know what show it is, but there's a show that Demi watches too much, and she's trying to give these like over the top, like I said, like memeable 5 minutes ago. Like she's trying to give like very
Real Housewives.
gifable whatever moments. Like she really is trying to be like the one-liner queen. It is killing me.
Yeah, but finally we get to the rose ceremony. Oh wait, no, before the rose ceremony, Trey, this was the most random shit. So Trey self-eliminates, and I guess there was a light bulb moment that he didn't want to be with Tajwan, and then didn't think he was going to get a rose, I guess, so he leaves. But it was super random, and just like says he and her aren't compatible, so he's out. And I'm like,
the whole night was insane. This all happened in the same night, and you think about like this was what the fuck was in the like what was going on.
Well, and they sit them down for the rose ceremony and then give them Becca, and they introduce Becca. Lance is like, the Bachelorette in Paradise. I convinced her to be here. And I'm like, did you, Lance? Okay.
You guys are friends?
But then she gets this extra rose to hand out. And then right after this is when they show Tajwan like screaming on the beach and then leaves. And it's like Tajwan like packs up her shit. She just fucking carries her bag out. She doesn't even seem like she says goodbye to anybody. Actually, I don't think so, because they all seem surprised. And then she like gets a blanket in the car and is like, fuck this, I'm over love. Whatever. And I'm like, what happened? Was this Becca?
The way that
this feels out of order.
The way that it looked to me is that all this shit was happening between Aaron and Thomas, Aaron and Thomas, and like Carl and Chasen, and like shit was hitting the fan. And I think Tajwan, like, to me, she seemed like a little drunk probably. And I think that like Trey left in the midst of things, and that's who she would have given her rose to. And I don't think that there was any opportunity for them to communicate that Trey was like leaving for Trey and not because he didn't want to be with Taj. Like I don't think that there was any like communication, and people
Yeah.
were just like pulling triggers left and right and just like doing things.
Well, and I don't understand.
There's even a
Like
point where
you could have
Wells
just.
tells Tajwan like you need to calm down. Like everything is
I
okay. Like you
just.
need to stop freaking out.
I also just hate too that she, like, I wish that she would have. Again, girl, just give your rose. This is what I think about with every self
But
elimination,
to
especially
Trey
when they have a rose.
too.
Just give your rose out to. But even if Trey left, just give your rose out to one of these dudes and then leave.
No, I
And then they
agree.
have an extra, like,
But that's what I mean,
like.
like about the sentiment's the same. Like I think people were just like pulling triggers because like even with Trey, it's like so you're leaving 2 hours before you would have been leaving anyway, and maybe you'll stay, and the men have the power next week with more women coming in. So like why not just stay? And I get it. Like if you have some
Yeah.
kind of emotional hang up or if something's going on where you don't feel like mentally equipped to stay or like you really want to stay that bad, I know it's trying, so whatever. But it was
Yeah.
just like the whole night was so chaotic. I don't understand how producers let that happen. How producers weren't like,
Well, and
maybe we give it a day.
apparently though, did you catch when she was screaming and she was like, no one lets me pee, no one lets me poop, I can't do anything, I can't leave, I can't whatever.
I
And I
think,
just think that she was having that moment of like, fuck all of this control and I can't do
yeah, I
this.
think that's
Bye.
like a production thing when they're like sitting there and like, okay, no, we're gonna like do the rose ceremony. Like, no, we've got to film. So like, and then you end up waiting for 2 hours and you're like, I just want to pee. And they're like, well, sorry,
Just
you
let
can't
me
because like we
pee.
might start filming any second now. And it's like, okay, but we've been waiting for an hour. Like, why can't you know what I mean? Like, that makes
Why
complete
would I
sense.
why wouldn't I have peed earlier?
That's
Yeah.
what I
So
mean
I
is
do
like, why
think
was
that
it?
there
Why
was.
wasn't production like, okay, you're a little drunk. Like, it's been kind of a crazy night. Like, let's go to a hotel and like we'll talk about it in the morning. And like maybe they will. I don't know. Is it the next day yet?
Nah. I doubt. Well, yeah, it ends up becoming the next day when, because Becca eventually has it the day after the
Yes,
roast
you're right.
ceremony.
You're right.
So,
You're right.
but anyway, so Becca shows up. Taj is gone. Ivan and Becca talk first. He asks, why she came to Paradise, and I kind of like. I liked this conversation because I liked listening to Becca talk. I was like, she was like trying to be a yes woman after this year or after 2020. She's been single for a year, and then Carl like read her palm. It was so weird. And then this is when Aaron is like about to talk to her, and I have this in a quote because I thought it was another thing that was so rude when he was like, Tammy has proven to be extremely selfish. So, but then yeah, he talks to Becca and he's just like fucking fangirling, and he admits that she has a crush on her. She asks how old he is, and then he's like, oh, I'm 26, and she's like, because she is 31. So 5 years difference. And yeah, but finally we have this rose ceremony, which everything was pretty much as expected. Natasha and Brendan, Abigail, Noah, Marissa, Riley, Serena P and Joe, Tammy and Thomas, Demi and Kenny. Mari picks James, which I was shocked when she didn't pick Ivan. Like, even though Deandra picks Ivan right after, which I was like, wow! When I wrote it in all caps, I was like, Deandra, Ivan!
I was like,
Because
yes,
I was
bitch,
like,
get after it. Do
I
your
loved it.
thing.
She was like, you, and when she gave the rose, she was like, you deserve to find
I
love
know,
here.
like
And I
both of
just
you
want you to
guys,
stay.
chase it. Do your things. Love to see
And
it.
so, and then it was the last thing. It was Becca gives her rose to Aaron because,
She has to. Who else would she give them to?
the producers. And yeah, probably because she felt bad. She felt bad sending him home after he basically was like, I'm in love with you. And then I do love when Carl leaves and he's like, I'm just glad that Deandra didn't end up with cheesy Chasen. I'm also glad to see Chasen off of my screen.
This is best case scenario, honestly.
I feel like I've never seen something that beautifully done of just like, not fuck
Of
both
the
of you guys.
options to go, of the options to stay, like all the correct choices were made. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderfully done.
And I just bravo. And then Chasen's like, what did I do wrong? And I was like, you gave
Literally
her an absurd
everything.
necklace, bro.
From
Out of
beginning to
nowhere.
end,
You did
all of it was
everything
fucked.
wrong. I don't know why you're confused. He's a little bit of a confused Leo though, so goodbye. to the also R.I.P. Smoke Bros. That's why they had to play it up so badly, because it was gone.
They had to separate
so
them. They
fast.
would never
Gone as
survive
quickly
together.
as it was in. Yeah. So the next day is Demi and Kenny are all over each other when Tia walks in, and Tia and her Arkansas accent. Sorry, I'm literally from the South, and I couldn't even do it that much. She comes in and she literally is like, they have her like fake praying. She's like, I pray for a godly man.
Where are you, Tia? Where do you think you are?
We are starting strong with her. And she picks Kenny, the man who walked in naked. But she so she takes Kenny, and this is when Kenny goes to tell Demi that he wants to go on a date, and she's like, well, I don't want you to do that, I really like
But
you.
wait,
And
what?
he's like, I didn't. Yeah, he was like, oh shit, I didn't realize we were exclusive. And she's like, well, yeah, like I wanted to be, and I would be upset if he went on a date. And but also he is doing the funny man thing where he's like, so like, if I went on a date, you'd be like mad. She's like, yeah, I wouldn't like it. And he's like, so like, I think I might go on this date.
But
Like,
this
it's
also directly contradicts what she was saying to Mari last night, where Mari's like, well, he said he wanted to fuck me. He's like, I
oh
don't care.
yeah,
I want to fuck people too. And it's like, okay, so then you have to be okay with
I
him. Hello?
I completely agree that Demi should have been okay with it, but it was funny. Like, it's
Oh,
funny
yeah.
watching again men communicate, because men communicating is just like, oh yes, that she's saying
No,
no.
it
She
was
said she does not
insane.
want you to do
And
this.
it did not help his face at all that she was
um
just like smiling at him like crazy eyes, like, okay, like expecting him to say more. And he's like saying as
yeah.
little as humanly possible.
Yep. So anyway, they go on their date, and Joe in his ITM says that he thinks Kenny is Tia's type, or Tenny, which is funny. But this date, what the fuck? They really tried so hard to get Kenny naked again, or to put Kenny on a naked date. I just need to understand if that date always prepped
Yeah.
for Tia, and that it would have
Well,
happened
I
no
don't
matter
know. But
what.
it was always Tia's date cards. Like she could have taken literally anybody else, and she just happened to take the
And so
naked
I'm like,
guy.
I just like wonder if something about that feels like it had to have been fucking planned. It
I
just
think
felt
that it
too
was
much,
set up
because it was her Christian embarrassment with
exactly.
his I don't give a fuck, I'll be nude anywhere
And I
attitude.
think that's what it was. I
When
think it was
she
intended
called,
to embarrass her more than anything else.
and she, by the way, I can't handle women who are, she's literally 30 years old and she cannot say vagina. She says China pot.
Which I hate.
She's everyone's China pots are out. And I'm like, what? She did at one point. She does say labia.
I was gonna say, like, we do
But
hear
so
her
I'm like,
use like some kind of formal
you can
language.
say that, but you can't say her vagina's out. No, it's her China pot and his wiener,
If I had to hear her
which is
say,
the city that she's from.
I was gonna say, like, if I had to hear her say wiener one more time after they're talking about, like, well, where are you from? Yeah, wiener. I said wiener. Like, we get it.
Wiener, Arkansas, wiener. So yeah. But I looked up Tia's chart. And she has a bunch of Virgo placements, including a Virgo moon. And that now, like, I actually am thinking that Virgo stuff is probably in the 9th house, which would put Libra on the ascendant, which could give her a Capricorn rising. But actually, I don't see her as a
Okay.
rising. I don't see her as a Capricorn rising. If I had to guess, I'd put her as a Cancer rising. But I would make sense. I mean, 3rd house, 9th house is the house of religion. So anytime there's these super religious people, that's always what I think. Like, that's always my thought too with Colton. Like, his chart has a bunch of Capricorn placements, and I was like, oh, that shit is for sure in his 10th or his 9th house, but whatever. So they go on this date, and these 3 people, it's like also just the most awkward way of a nude. Like, I understand if it's a nude beach, but why are there no other nude people? You just got these 3 people to be nude and play volleyball.
It was so awkward. It looked so fake and so forced and like so
It
like
was
last minute
painful.
planning. Like nobody was in on the bit. Like it was just really.
Like, they literally just pull these people off the street and are like, "Hey, do you
Oh
care
my
if you're
god, it
naked
was
on camera?"
awful.
So anyway, Tia ends up going back and forth with Kenny for so long. I wonder if how long it was, because it was like a good 2 minutes on the show. So it must have been a good like hour in real life of them just going back and forth being like, well, do you want to take your clothes off? And she's like, well, I don't know, like, do you? And he's like, I really don't give a shit, I'll do whatever you do. Because he's like, I will be fully nude at any moment. Yes, I walked onto this beach fully nude, you missed it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sure it was of quite
So
some time because I feel like it went back and forth where she was trying
yeah,
to. Because I feel like she did the same thing that Marissa did with Connor, where it's like you think you're being clear, but people just want you to say directly like, "No, I am not going to take my clothes off," and then you want to hear them directly
yep.
say, "Okay, you do not have to take your clothes off," and like no one is saying the magic phrases on either side.
Yep. Also, I was thinking this too about how she's like, my mom watches this show, and I'm just like, and your mom is seeing a black box over your tits. No one on TV is seeing your tits. So anyway, I'm trying to find more about their date. Oh, their date was kind of the end because I don't have any more notes after the date. So then before that date though is they have Serena. Oh, Serena telling Joe that she never thought she would date someone named Joe.
Which is weird because they've
And
chopped up the same
he's like,
like
it's the
weird
classic.
date or conversation that they had before and have placed it in like three separate places in the episode. And I'm just like,
Yes,
this is
I
unnecessary.
know. I know. Oh, so then I have to talk about this last thing because I did talk about it. I briefly posted it on the
Mhm.
story last when I was watching it. So when Abigail and Noah are talking, and Um, so it's this weird conversation. Abigail is basically like, why are we not progressing like these other
Yeah.
couples? There's always one couple on every season of Bachelor in Paradise that falls victim to this issue of like comparing your relationship to the other relationships happening as if any relationship is the same
It's so
of anybody.
annoying.
Like nobody has the same relationship. So of course people are going to be doing different things than you. Yes, some people are fucking, but you already self-admitted you like to move slow. So now you're wondering why you two aren't being very physical. And but also isn't seeming like she actually wants to initiate physicality with Noah. And she literally talks about wanting to always friend zoning, and Noah is literally just like I don't kiss my friends, so I don't really think we're just friends. Like she's like, are we just friends? Like she's being the most wishy-washy Pisces in this moment. And then she even goes into being like, well, should we try again? And he's like what do you
He's
mean?
like,
Like,
try what again? Like,
and then
nothing
they
is
end up just,
wrong because she's not explicitly saying that
yeah.
something is like, if you need more affection from your partner, say so. If they're not willing or interested in doing that, then that's on them and something that you can discuss after the
So
fact. But like, she needs to, you're right. Like, she's being so wishy washy and she needs to just say, like, I feel like you're not being affectionate enough, or like, I would like you to initiate more affection.
or or like this is my thing with Abigail. It doesn't seem like she knows what she wants because again she's like, I move slow and I friend zone guys and I take forever. And so my thing, and this is my hot take, and this is, I want nobody come for me because this is all with love and anybody can be any sexuality they want, I don't care. But Abigail, hey, if you're listening, I don't know if you know this, but if you don't like men, like if you don't find yourself actually wanting to be physical with them, wanting to spend time with them, wanting to not, you just want to be their friend, you keep trying to find things wrong and she's crying about self-sabotaging later. And if you're doing this all the time in all of your relationships, which she has said she does, there might not be something straight entirely about you. This is a very common issue with women, and I maybe gay men too, but it's like seriously common with women because we are forced into believing we have to date men to be able to exist in society. And so when you're someone like Abigail, who definitely grew up religious, definitely grew up in a vaguely conservative home, definitely has all that influence, like you're probably not gonna like want to explore queerness at all. And so that being said, she's like actively, like I watch her fucking forcing herself to be anywhere like affectionate with Noah, even with Matt. Like we barely with Matt. Like she was like even like shocked that he was kissing her for that first night when she got the first impression rose. And then yet when she's lying on these day beds with women, she looks immensely more comfortable. And again, not to say that she might be into women. Somebody actually in my DMs replying to the story when I said this exact take was like, you know, she also might be asexual. And I was like, great point. But that also means you're not straight. Like, because if you're like, you might be straight, I guess, because you might want to be romantic and not want to have sex if you're asexual. But like, asexuality is still within the LGBTQ plus like umbrella. So it's like either way, there's just something up. And there's something up with Abigail, and she has a fucking Pisces sun conjunct Saturn. So Saturn is trying really hard to make her line up into a certain position and be a certain way. And she's got Aquarius Venus and Mars. And I always say this about Aquarius Venus, and I will say it until my dying day, but Aquarius Venus be gay. They just be gay. They just be gay. I'm sorry, but you be gay. And it's okay. And it's funny too, because it's like, even if you're not actually queer, Venus Aquarius tend to have relationships that are unconventional. So it's not going to look like a relationship that you expect to look like. Hence why she's also comparing it to everybody else on the beach. Also, Venus Aquarius people are the kinds of people that fall for their friends. So no wonder she's like, I friend zone guys. She just has to understand that she has to be friends with a person before she can date them, if that's the case. Or you're not straight. There's lots of options here. But I think personally it's the not straight one, but that's also me just projecting. I would love it because I want more queer people. But also Abigail and Chelsea hang out all the time, and I'm just like, Chelsea too gives me the same vibes. Because remember Chelsea on Matt's season and the way she acted with him, and she's like, I'm just like so awkward around boys, despite the fact that I'm a literal runway model. Like, you know, like, and you can be awkward about anybody, but girl, you look like that in New York. How is it? How are you awkward? But all right, that's my rant though, and I just think that there are more queer people in Bachelor Nation than we think there are. Demi is not the only one, and people just aren't out. People haven't figured it out. There is stuff going on. Chrissy gives me the vibe too. You know, the bling, hand tilt. But whatever. I want it. I just want gay Bachelor in Paradise. Queer Bachelor in Paradise would be so fun. Everybody be gay.
Okay.
So anyway, that's all I have to say about that. But yeah, they separate Noah and Abby, and then Abigail. I keep wanting to call her Abby as if I know her. But Abigail cries in her ITM, and she's like, "I self-sabotaged, and oh my god, I can't believe I did that. Did I really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you did something."
I mean, she mentioned on Matt's season that she has this like really intense fear of abandonment. Like that stems from her and her dad. So I could also see it
that's fair.
going that way.
I literally, like I said, there is so many options.
I thought this into existence. She's like, if I had relaxed, if I had just like let it run its course, you know what I mean? Like I'm self-sabotaging in a way because like I'm creating a problem where there wouldn't have been a problem had I not overthought the fact that there wasn't a problem. It's like,
You like are perfectly explaining Pisces, because the Pisces is the one that fantasizes their way into something and then is like, oh shit, when the fantasy's not real. Whereas their opposition, which is Virgo, is the one that creates problems to fix when they feel like things are going too well, because they want to help and they want to fix. So it's like this opposition is so weird because Pisces does that, what you just said. Like she really did. She created this fantasy of what Noah and her might have been, and then it wasn't going to be that. And now she's upset. And I totally get it. So, but yeah, that's what I mean with the queer thing or the ace or what you said. No matter what it is with Abigail, she's not addressing it. Like she's allowing it to just fester. If it's queerness, if it's trauma, if it's anything, like, and so girl, you gotta figure it out, because you're not going to get it to figure it out on this show. Well, it's not going to help. True, yeah. It's going to make it worse. They're going to exploit it. They're going to exploit it hard, and they're doing that. So, but I feel bad for her because I just want Abigail to be
Same.
happy. Like, I think she's sweet, and
I want
like,
Abigail to
I
be with
think she just
someone
needs
who's going to be just
happy.
as shocked and scared as she is when there's a bug in her nose. I want her to-
Yeah, and not completely ignore her when that's happening. God. So, all right, but okay, I literally don't know if anything else happens after Tia because I feel like that's where my notes
I
end.
have, let's
Tia,
see.
Kenny.
Yeah, so that is,
I just have Demi talking more
yep.
shit about herself.
But then
being
the last bit of the episode is Kendall arrives, and we see a preview for Piper arriving.
Oh my god!
And
Yeah.
so
Wow.
everyone's all happy on the daybed. Joe looks the happiest that we've seen him since he started, since his first day as like lonely boy Joe. And then we see Kendall coming down, and she gets this like ITM interview where she's saying like, I never really got over Joe. I still love Joe a lot. Like, you know, we were still in love when we broke up, which that occurred to me when he had his date with Serena. That's something that they talked about where he's like, we didn't stop dating because we didn't love each other. We stopped dating because we didn't want to live in the same city. And like, that's a very different.
And I remember when they broke up.
And that's like a very different scenario than to like it not working or like we're not right together. Like, that's a different situation. So finding out that.
And I literally remember when they broke up and Kendall posted about it too. I remember, like, again, a year or whatever ago, they posted about it being like, we just don't want to live where we are. Like,
yeah. But
that is a real thing.
So I feel like the fact that he had addressed that on the date, and then we have Kendall coming in saying that she still is in love with him and like can't imagine her life without him. It like all of a sudden makes 2 years seem like not a very long time ago at all. Like you said, you can remember it. It kind of makes it all like flood back. And it'll be interesting because we just saw Joe tell Serena that it is done. He said that it was done.
And I would not.
He literally said like, no, like it, like we won't be together again. Like it is done. So now it'll be interesting with Kendall coming in and Kendall saying, I want to make this work. If he'll still keep that like, no, we are done energy, or if he'll go by. It'll be very interesting to see what happens.
It just sucks because
Serena doesn't deserve that.
No, and also Kendall, the only way that it's going to work is if you move. Like, that's it.
But maybe that's what, maybe she's like pulling a Deanie Babies coming back.
Because Joe's not going to move.
Because, you know, Dean was like, I'm never going to leave the van. Like, I'm never going to leave this Rolling Stone lifestyle. And now they have a house together in Las Vegas. Right. So maybe it's Kendall coming back and being like, you know what, like, you are more important than being in LA. Maybe she's coming to say that. And it'll be very interesting to see how he reacts.
It also just like, it's just so funny because I'm sure when we go to, you know, we both go into school in Missouri, people from Chicago, they fucking love it. And if Joe doesn't want to leave Chicago, he's not going to fucking leave. So it's like, it's just, but it's funny because Chicago is truly, like everyone says the opposite of New York or of LA is like New York, but it's, in my opinion, it's like weather-wise and stuff and culture, it is Chicago.
Is the opposite?
Because putting a person who's grown up in California in Chicago winter.
Oh no, weather-wise, definitely.
Like, there's nothing about. I don't think
culturally. I was gonna say I feel like Chicago and New York are pretty the same.
Not culture, but like I think about the natural. But I'm just like because it's one thing to put an LA person in New York. Yes, it's cold and gross sometimes, but it's just a different. It is a different level in the Midwest. And I just can't imagine Miss Sunshiny Leo Kendall being like, okay, let's go. But hey, and let me separate from my twin sister who lives in LA, you know, like it's just wild. But I feel bad because I think that, God, Kendall.
Well, I don't think that, I think they'll have like a tumultuous ride. I don't think they'll end up getting back together. But I do just feel bad for Serena because, like you said, like the producers knew that this was coming. The producers set them up to talk about Kendall and whether it would be done or not on their date. And we now know that it was intentional. Like we knew Kendall was coming because previews spoiled it. But it like all of those conversations are prompted by producers. So the fact that they talked about that means that a producer was like, you should talk about Kendall. And you even hear it in when Serena's like, I'm just going to say her name because I know her name. Like, they're like, well, this girl, like this woman. And Serena's like, oh, fuck this. Like, her name is Kendall. Like, we can say Kendall. And like, they tried to make it seem all dramatic, knowing that she was coming in. It's just.
it's like everything on every date, it's like everything is constantly set up for it to fail. There's no, even Riley and Marissa's date, which they kind of just like almost just like worked around it being awkward and weird. They were like, yeah, fuck it, I'll eat all this weird
Yeah.
shit and then we'll make out. Whatever. And then we'll go to the boom boom room. But yeah, wow, okay. Because Kendall, and then I remember too, Kendall comes in and she literally is like, hey, butthead. And I'd feel bad watching it gonna happen. Because yeah, I really liked Kendall and Joe together. I loved them on their season when they were on Bachelor in Paradise. I followed both of them on Instagram to follow them. And that's why I remember when they broke up,
Yeah.
because I was like, oh, damn, I really liked them. So I like them as a couple, and I like Serena P a lot. And so and as much as I'll say I don't like Joe's age difference with Serena, they seem to fine together. And so
Yeah, Joe and Serena were
I
just starting to grow
don't.
on me. They were just starting to grow on
Yeah,
me.
right.
I was
like,
finally like, okay, you know what? She's a lot more mature than he is, actually. So maybe it like cancels out.
literally, but whatever. Well, I am
It is going to
excited for
be.
next week. All right, wow. Everybody, love y'all. Thanks for listening to
Yeah.
us. Follow us through the Roses of Wine. Shannon and Jess, astrology chef, Jess Catula. We're here. And I'm excited for next week. I hope that some more interesting shit happens and that I can look up and maybe confirm more rising signs. Anyway, I can't wait to see. Oh, and Piper's going to be here next
Yes,
week
that's
too.
very exciting.
So finally, we get to see them finish up.
It's going to be
Because
mess on top of
I'm
mess.
tired of pretending Brendan. Yeah, great. Woo! All right, well, until then,
See you next time.
Bye, guys.